If I had known that a single phone call would shatter the life I built with him, I would have never answered it. But when I heard her voice, soft, trembling, the same girl he once swore he had buried in his past, I realized the storm that was coming wasn't the rain outside. It was him. The rain had begun early that evening, the kind that tapping softly against the windows first, then turning into angry, relentless sheets. I remember standing in our kitchen, stirring a pot of soup, thinking the storm outside felt strangely symbolic, though I didn't know why. My heart felt heavy for reasons I couldn't name. Maybe the universe whispers before it shouts. Maybe the body knows heartbreak before it sees it. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. God, I wish I had. Hello? I answered, keeping my voice steady. For a moment, only rain. Then, her. Is this Arya? The voice was soft, hesitant, familiar in a way that made my stomach twist. Yes, I said slowly. Who's this? A shaky breath came through the line. It's me, Lila. And in that instant the world tilted. Lila. His first love. The girl whose name used to be a ghost in our house, floating silently in the corners he refused to look at. The one he promised was history. I gripped the phone tighter. Why are you calling me? I didn't know who else to reach out to, she whispered. It's about him. I almost laughed. A bitter, broken sound formed in my throat. What about him? He came to see me tonight. The spoon slipped from my hand and clattered into the pot. The storm outside seemed to grow louder, as if mocking me. I felt my breath catch, not because of the words, but because of the tone she said them with. Regret, pain, confusion. He said he needed closure, she continued. He said he needed to see if he still loved me. My chest tightened. A cold, sharp ache formed like someone had wrapped a fist around my ribs and squeezed. I told him no, she rushed on, as if desperate to save me from a burning building. I told him he's married, that he should go home. But he didn't listen at first. What do you mean? I asked, though part of me didn't want to know. He kissed me, she whispered, and then he cried. He said he was confused. I'm sorry, Arya, I'm so sorry. My whole body went still. The world stopped. Even the storm outside seemed to freeze. But inside me something cracked, clean and brutal, like the first split in a sheet of glass. Why are you telling me this? I finally asked, though my voice sounded foreign, detached. Because he ran out afterward. He looked lost, like he didn't know where to go. I thought you should know before he comes home. Before he comes home, before he returns to the woman he left for a ghost. I hung up. Not because I was angry, though the anger would come later, powerful and blinding, but because I suddenly couldn't breathe. My world felt too small, too suffocating. The walls felt like they were closing in. Every memory, every promise, every smile. All of it felt like it was dissolving in my hands. The door swung open minutes later. He stumbled inside, soaked, breathless, looking exactly like someone who had chased a memory instead of coming home to reality. Arya, he said, searching the house like he expected me not to be there. You're here. Good. Good. The words scraped against my heart like sandpaper. I wiped my hands on a towel, turning to face him. Did you think I wouldn't be? His eyes widened. What? I know where you were. He froze. Completely. Rainwater dripped from his hair. His jaw tightened. The truth was already in his eyes before he spoke. Arya, listen. It wasn't what you think. I almost laughed. Really? Because I think you went to see your ex, kissed her, and then came home to your wife like nothing happened. That's not... He raked a hand through his hair. I was emotional. I didn't mean to. I needed to see if I was really over her. And, I asked, voice trembling with a mixture of rage and heartbreak, are you? He looked away. That was my answer. A storm roared outside, but the one inside felt louder. So, what now? I whispered. You leave me standing in the rain while you chase your past? You break our vows because nostalgia hit you hard? It's not like that, he insisted, stepping closer. But I stepped back. Don't, I said quietly. Don't touch me, not right now. He winced. He hated distance between us, but he'd created this one with his own hands. Arya, please, he whispered. I chose you. I married you. I love you. Then why, I asked, tears finally forming, was she the one you ran to tonight? Not me, not your wife, not the woman who has stood by you for years. You chose her. He grabbed my wrist suddenly, desperate. I made a mistake. I was confused. I panicked when she called me. She didn't call you, I said. You went to her. He stiffened, because that was the truth, the real, undeniable truth. Silence stretched between us, painful and raw. I'm sorry, he whispered. I swear I'll fix this. But the thing he didn't understand was that some cracks don't show immediately. Some break silently, spreading slowly through the heart until one day everything collapses. I need space, I said, pulling my wrist from his grip. I need to think. I'll wait, he said quickly. I'll do anything. Just don't walk away. The irony of those words would hit him later, much later. I turned away, feeling my world shift under my feet. I wasn't sure if I hated him or still loved him. I wasn't sure of anything except one truth that echoed in my heart. Something inside me had changed. Something fragile had snapped. And though neither of us knew it yet, the woman he left in the rain wasn't the woman he would ever find again. He thought losing me would sting. He didn't know it would destroy him, because when he came back, to say the words he should have said that night in the rain, he found nothing. Not a note, not a trace, just an empty apartment, and the terrifying realization that the woman he abandoned had finally abandoned him too. The morning after the storm, the air felt heavy, as if the sky itself carried the echo of everything that had broken the night before. I woke early, long before he stirred, and sat quietly at the edge of our bed. The same bed where we had whispered dreams, argued, laughed, made plans, and once believed nothing could ever separate us. Funny how fragile forever is once betrayal touches it. He slept on his side, curled as if trying to hold himself together. His face looked softer in sleep, almost innocent, almost like the man I married. But innocence was a lie now, and I couldn't stay in a home built on promises that had already dissolved. By the time he woke up, the spot beside him was cold. I didn't leave a note because explanations are useless when trust is already dead. I didn't pack loudly or slam doors because he didn't deserve the privilege of witnessing my heartbreak. I moved silently, taking only what belonged to me, clothes, documents, and the pieces of myself I could still gather. Everything else stayed behind, like ghosts in a place I no longer recognized. For a brief moment, as I closed the door behind me, I wondered if I should take one last look. But no. I needed a clean cut. I needed silence. I needed distance. I needed to become someone he couldn't hurt again. When he woke up and called my name, I wasn't there to answer. When he ran to the kitchen, expecting me to be cooking like always, the stove was off. When he checked the living room, expecting the TV to be playing the morning news, the screen was black. Our home had lost its heartbeat, and he felt it too late. He searched every room, shouting my name, the panic in his voice growing each second. But I was already miles away, in a quiet rented room in an old guest house on the outskirts of the city. No one knew me there. No one asked questions. No one cared about the silent war in my chest. The first day felt strange, empty, like walking around with a hollow space where my ribs had been. But the second day, I cried. Long, hard, painful tears. The kind that come from the deepest part of the soul. I cried for the love I gave freely, for the trust I carried like a gift, for the girl who believed promises were stronger than temptation. On the third day, something inside me shifted, not healed, not mended, but awakened. I didn't want to be the woman waiting for apologies. I didn't want to be the wife standing in the wreckage of someone else's confusion. I wanted a life where my worth wasn't measured against someone's past. So I disappeared. No calls, no texts, nothing to trace. I cut myself from the digital world like removing a splinter. Fast, painful, necessary. But disappearing from someone's heart is different from disappearing from their reach. And he was reaching. Back at the apartment, he searched for signs, for answers, for anything that would explain the sudden emptiness swallowing him. He checked with neighbors, friends, acquaintances, anyone who might have seen me. He drove around the city until sunrise. He called my phone so many times the battery died. He even showed up at places I used to love, as if hoping I would magically appear like a forgotten memory returning. But I didn't appear, because I was done being found by someone who never held me carefully enough to keep me. The first few days for him were confusion, then worry, then fear, and then guilt, heavy, suffocating guilt. He replayed everything in his mind. The rain, the kiss, the moment he looked away instead of choosing me, the plea in my voice when I asked why she was the person he ran to. Every memory stabbed deeper, reminding him of the cruelty in his own choices. He realized that what he had dismissed as confusion had actually been betrayal. He found himself sitting on our living room floor one night, surrounded by silence so loud it felt like punishment. The apartment echoed with everything I once brought into it: warmth, laughter, softness, and the absence of those things pressed on him like the weight of a collapsing roof. For the first time since that night, he broke down. But tears don't fix what decisions destroy. Meanwhile, the days I spent away slowly began stitching me back together. Not perfectly, not completely, but enough for me to breathe without feeling like I was swallowing shards. The guest house was old, with creaky floors and mismatched furniture, but it wrapped me in a kind of anonymity that felt like healing. I walked in the small garden every morning, letting the sun touch my face, feeling the world move gently around me. I started writing again, something I hadn't done since before marriage. I wrote the pain out of my body, letting the pages hold what my heart couldn't. And with each word, I felt a little less broken, a little more myself. But healing isn't linear. There were days I wanted to scream, days I missed him, his warmth, his laugh, the way he held my hand like it was made of poetry. Days I hated myself for still loving parts of him. But I reminded myself, love doesn't mean staying. Love doesn't mean surviving betrayal. One rainy evening, I sat by the window listening to droplets hit the glass. It reminded me of that night, the night I broke silently. But tonight, the rain didn't feel cruel. It felt cleansing. And then, like destiny's cruel irony, my phone, my new number, buzzed. Unknown number. Instinct told me to ignore it, but something in me, something quiet and gentle, whispered otherwise. I answered, and his voice came through. Soft, broken, unrecognizable. Arya, please don't hang up. My breath caught, my heart twisted. His voice sounded like someone who hadn't slept in days. I don't know where you are, he said, each word trembling, but I know why you left. And you're right. I don't deserve forgiveness. I don't deserve another chance. But I can't live with the way I hurt you. You didn't walk away. I pushed you away. And I hate myself for it. Silence. Only rain and his uneven breathing. He continued. You're not the one who should be apologizing. I am. I'm sorry, Arya. For everything. For breaking your trust. For making you question your worth. For choosing a past that should have stayed dead. I swear if I could undo it, I would. I swear I'll spend my whole life making this right if you let me. My throat tightened. Tears pricked my eyes. His pain was real, but so was mine. I don't know if I can come back, I whispered. The line went quiet, the kind of quiet that hurts. I know, he finally said, but I'll wait, even if it takes forever. I closed my eyes, and for the first time, he wasn't asking me to stay. He was asking me to choose. But the woman he left in the rain no longer existed. The woman holding the phone now had learned what it meant to walk away before being pushed. And this time, my decision would change everything.